They're across. Golf game, John.
Oh, same as always. All the years. I like to think it's getting better.
Every time I see it, it hits right down the middle.
That's not the issue. It's not the drive. It's everything. Yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's stressful. Yeah, I get that. It can be. It would be that.
Yeah.
Did I do that?
Still quite just one window. The 18th time. The 18th still.
So.
Well, it's still. We just won. The 18th times.
Okay.
And these two.
Amazing.
What's that?
It's white one. Oh, or the club championship. I said open. Yeah, it's a big event. Yeah.
Yeah, Chelsea. Well, way back. Yeah, that's who it is now. He's waiting for 5 years, so that kind of. It's the county country club ones over there. Did he win some over there?
Yeah, and I think she actually got second every year to get all those playing in Bobcats. Yeah. It was good for her. I think she only lost once, so it's like freshman year.
She started golfing like when she was like 3, 4, 5 years old.
8 or 10. I think Marcy actually.
It's probably a good person teacher, actually. Is he used to golf? There's some cases of people. Yes. Yes. It's just like.
Yeah.
They start early though, it's easier than when you're born. Yeah.
They still have the guy, remember they had it. They were running off to the. The beginner golfers that was like younger.
Oh, yeah. It still runs a builder's school.
I remember getting on my United Player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they had, I think, over 100 kids. Yeah, it's a lot. Keep telling me he needs to give it up. He was not stable, was like, again. But, yeah, you should build
I
it.
think I should. The thing in your shoes here.
They too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to switch to.
It's just.
Like when they switched to the. Girl one.
Last week or maybe they we had trouble. Girls on the stage.
Give it a try. You're not that. Understand. They just.
What did you guys do? We always laugh at the top teams and see a champion. She gets almost 2,000 more. So age of Alex. Haven't been in it for a while. It's actually they're all down.
No, it's an era that.
It's more someone's voice.
Yes, we got.
Okay.
Reimbursement.
So
We did, but I still want to do. It's a good.
Yeah. Something like that. Something, get two of them. Shells. Well, I know. In fact, I said, there's.
We can start. Yeah.
They kind of was when they instituted this, I thought there was something to that. Well, they gave like.
Go.
I don't think there was. Right.
Figure out something better than these. It's not, very easy.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Casey, do you need us to put it in? We're here, that's how it happens.
Even to the flag. United States. To.
Okay, we do have a forum, everyone here. Mr. Hankins, you introduce the visitors.
Yes. So we have Miss Casey Elliott, Megan Hansen, Sharon Anderson, George Fleck, King Conan, Tyra Mataffa, and your father, Jimmy Mataffa. And then Corey Craig.
What you're doing. Council representative this year, do you know?
The envelope.
It's okay. Cool. Okay, the first item of business we have is the review of the claims and accounts. Josh, if you want to run through those. Sure.
We need to approve the minutes first from last meeting.
Probably that would be a good idea since that's ahead of the agenda. Ahead of the
Speed it up a little bit.
No, I read it at home, so I would gladly make a motion.
Can you second to approve the minutes? Any discussion? Lori, I skipped them. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Just a couple quick things to point out in the claims. See the BMO MasterCard bill there, 41,531.73. And just if you have any, it breaks it down underneath, line item by line item. So if you have any questions on any of those, I'm more than happy to answer. Then if you look on page 3, you'll see the BSN sports order there. It's 33,160.89 cents. Large chunk of that was for the football scoreboard. So if you see about the first 6 items where it says FB, those are all related to the scoreboard. So you got FB 2021 truss, freight, FB 510 control console kit, all that, all the way down to it says XC, that's when it changes cross country. Okay. So SB softball and so on and so forth. So that's in the year athletic orders there. On page 4, you'll notice at the bottom of that page, a charge for Charles Taylor Engineering, $17,506.50. That's for professional consulting services, expert issues related to the ASIC building. Let's see, was there one of those there? Okay, on page 8, midway down the page, you'll see the bill for TransFinder. Remember, that's our it's kind of like a student information system for transportation. And so we'll be using that this year. It's 23,596. Was approved at I believe the June board meeting. That's the last one that
Jump back on page 6. automobile 3,700.
Support video, video.
Okay, right.
I thought we did it on tape.
Yep.
The questions on the claims.
Okay, because for whatever reason, the ones that are like the prior period PO, they print really ugly. They're the ones that have the PO accounting and this is the whole program function. If this print really ugly. No, I might see if I can mark the black.
Anybody have any questions?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the claims and accounts. Is there any question or discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That's unanimously. You might notice in there on page 7, it's the remainder of the moving expense reimbursement for Josh. You have to pick that one up. Hey. Public comment and communication. I do not have any. Does anyone have anything?
Nobody to wait till 6.2.
Whatever. Go ahead.
My teacher on that note.
Sorry, you'll just.
Yep.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want it? Yeah.
Speaking today is to bring awareness to concerns regarding the proposed placement of a male staff member in the women's locker room. Offer 2 practical, student-centered alternatives that prioritize safety, privacy, and legal protection. Locker rooms are sensitive spaces for all students, especially young women and men, navigating personal development, body image, and social pressures. Placing a male staff member in the women's locker room, even with good intentions, introduces risks that must be addressed. Privacy violations, accidental exposure can cause emotional harm and long-term discomfort. Emotional distress, female students may feel unsafe or avoid using the space. Male students have also expressed discomfort with staff presence in locker rooms. Loss of trust, students may feel unheard, leading to disengagement or reluctance to participate in athletics or PE. Legal and reputational risk, even perceived impropriety can result in formal complaints, lawsuits, or public scrutiny, regardless of intent. Alternative solutions. Referee room office. Repurpose the unused referee changing room as Mr. Keller's office. Keeps him near Mr. Walker and removes male staff from the women's locker room. Referees can use the newly added referee locker room located behind the garage door at the north end of the gym. Number 2, PE storage room office. Clear out the PE storage room adjacent to the gym floor and convert it into Mr. Keller's office. Supplies can be relocated to the old weight room, Mr. Walker's storage closets, or any other unused space. This ensures the teacher is present in the gym during passing periods and classes, improving supervision and safety. These solutions are respectful, practical, and proactive. They protect student privacy, reduce emotional stress, and help prevent future legal or reputational damage. Most importantly, they demonstrate that we prioritize the safety, comfort, and dignity of all our students. I welcome the opportunity to discuss these options and others further and work collaboratively toward a solution that reflects our shared values. Thank you for letting me speak. If you have any questions or comments.
And I'm more than happy to speak about it when we get to 6.2.
Okay, great. Do you have any questions for Gordon? If not, we'll talk about it in 6.2.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other public comment or communication? Okay, we're going to the superintendent's report. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a letter along the same lines as
Oh.
Jordan's that I'd like to read to the group. It's along the same lines. But before I do read it, I just want to introduce myself. Some of you don't know who I am. You've probably all worked with Jordan since she's here at the school. My name is Corey Creighton. I'm the father of four, so 4 daughters. A lot of people who've known me for a long time think that's really laughable, especially if you knew me in like 18 to 20s. I'm also privileged to be the husband of the head softball coach, Alyssa Creighton. In regards to it, I kind of wanted to share my standpoint. Dear Dr. Patterson and member of the school board, I am writing to formally express my concern regarding the proposal to locate a male staff member's primary office in a shared female coaching and staff space adjacent to the girls' locker room at Beaverhead County High School. While the office in question is not inside the girls' locker room, it opens into a shared hallway directly connecting the locker room exit. This layout presents multiple issues regarding privacy, comfort, and equity for female students and staff. Designated space for female coaches and staff is essential for equity, safety, and respect in a co-educational environment. Female staff use this space to change, prepare for classes, and meet privately with students, coaches, and their athletes. Repurposing or sharing this space as a dedicated space for male staff members undermines the equity of your female professionals. The proximity of the office to the girls' locker room and its exit increases the likelihood of unintentional exposure or uncomfortable encounters. Such a setup could cause female students to avoid the space or feel unsafe. As a father of 4 daughters, that's a big deal. Even with structure changes, we have to appreciate that the developmental minds of our youth don't always aim at good intentions. This arrangement introduces risks that should be avoided rather than managed after issues arise. Providing this office location for one staff member appears inequitable when other coaches and staff members adapt to shared or less private workspaces than their peers. Prioritizing one individual's convenience over the communal comfort of students and staff could foster resentment and questions of fairness. I encourage each leader of our school district to ask themselves, what are the tangible benefits of this relocation? Is it essential for the program's success or a matter of convenience? Does this decision benefit a few individuals at the expense of many? Is the expense to address any concerns the best use of our resources, especially following the failure of the 2025 technology levy? How will the district respond if student or staff discomfort after the move has been implemented? I respectfully request this decision be reevaluated, emphasis on student safety, comfort, staff equity and inclusion, long-term implications for school culture, and future precedents. Alternative locations should be considered that meet staff's needs without compromising the dignity, privacy, or emotional well-being of our female students and staff. If no compelling or equitable rationale exists for this change, I urge that past arrangements remain in place. Thank you for your time. I appreciate all the work you guys have done and continue to do. I imagine it's sometimes a very thankless job.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. I didn't see you raise your hand back there.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Anyone have any questions for Corey? Anyone else have any comment or communication?
I'm Charna Savalstead. I also have a daughter starting 9th grade, and I didn't write anything up or prepare anything. But I just wanted to say that I agree totally with what Corey and Jordan have both brought to the table.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Dennis report.
Okay, first off, we're to notice about a special board meeting and conversations with Gary. We need to schedule a special board meeting to allow Brad Brown to provide trustees with an update regarding the ASIC facility. So we'd like to do that on Monday, the 8th, September the 8th. That's actually the day of our next regular school board meeting. So the plan would be to hold that special meeting at 6 p.m. with the regular meeting followed directly at 7 p.m. Any questions on that? Okay, let's move on to 6.2, Women's PE Teachers Office. Heard some of our stakeholders speak today on this issue, and so I have been spending a lot of time with it, spending time with John, spending time with Jack, evaluating our facilities and potential options. And unfortunately, with older buildings, sometimes there may not be an ideal option, right? And so after considering alternative locations, some, maybe not ideal for various reasons. Some are really small, or they may be not, located very near to the locker room. So what I've decided to do is to temporarily relocate Josh to the men's coach's office while we devise a more long-term solution. And right now, my plan is to do renovations on that space. So long-term, I would like to see Josh in that PE teacher's office. If I take gender out of the equation, that's where the PE teacher would be. And the board hired a male PE teacher, so it would seem natural that person fill that space. Also, in the past, and fitting with historical precedents, Mr. Keller, as our girls basketball coach, has occupied that exact same space in the past. And so, but to get more specific about the renovations, what I'd like to do is, if you're going down that ramp, and some of you may have been down that space and may have not, and if you haven't, I'd love to schedule a time to kind of take you down there to actually view the space. But there's a big partition wall at the bottom of the ramp. It doesn't quite go to the top of the ceiling. Once you turn to the right, it's a 90-degree turn that goes directly into the girls' locker room. It's framed up like there should be a door there, however, there's not. And so really, once you get beyond the first set of double doors, there's no other barrier or layer of privacy beyond that one kind of partition wall. It just goes directly in the girls' locker room. Partition wall all the way to the ceiling, so it creates an entirely separate room. So that the girls' locker room will be completely separated off. And where that 90-degree turn is, where there's a frame for a door, to put a door there. So we actually have another layer of privacy and separation. That door can be closed. Then, right outside the girls' PE teacher's office, there is a little bit of space there that I would like to wall off the top of that of the ramp, to wall that off and put another door there. Now, for ADA requirements, we would need to put a button of which would be located at the bottom of the ramp. So you've got to, so when it comes to ADA compliance, you've got to have a landing pad, either at the bottom of the ramp or at the top of the ramp. So we've got one at the bottom of the ramp, but the top of the ramp we don't. So that's why we need that button there, so it will open that door. So if we have a handicapped individual, student, or staff member or community member that happens to be using that space, that door will open so they won't have to stop on an incline on their way to the top. Inside the PE teacher's office, there's a door that adjoins the other office, because we have two offices essentially side by side. One that looks directly into the girls' locker room, which we've got some lockers kind of blocking half of that view right now. Like to kind of block all of that view. So that nobody can look directly into the locker room, whether the male or female supervisor. I think it's important that we keep things status quo, that somebody should be able to hear. And if there is an issue, that a female employee be able to address that. Right now, we've got a staff member that can cover 5 out of 7 periods. And I'm working to piece together another female staff member that can cover the last 2 for girls' PE. So I need to board up that one door, again, to create a permanent barrier from both those offices. And so that's what we're going to do to make that office more private, and we'll close it off. Adding 2 doors, so you have to technically get through 3 doors to get to the girls' locker room now. 2 doors if you're the girls' basketball coach or the girls' PE teacher. And that's the best solution I have for now. And that's going to take some time. And that's why I've asked Josh, and Josh has agreed to move to the men's locker room for now, until we're ever able to have that more long-term solution completed. But it's going to take some time to do, and I want to make sure that if we do this, we do it right, So like, Mr. Creighton, what Corey said, that we don't revisit this issue again in the future. And what I would do is once all this is complete, and have to look at prices and things like that. I believe we can do this fairly reasonably. We're using our own personnel and then, having an outside organization, a company come in and install the actual door. A lot of framing and things like that, we can do in-house. But once it's all finished, what I do is invite people in. I invite Jordan in, I invite Corey in, and I look at Turner. Turner, invite you in to come look at it and see if you feel like it's, provides a little bit more safety and security than what we currently have. And a little about me for these that don't know, I'm a girl dad too. I've actually got a couple of each. I got 2 boys, 2 girls. I've got one that'll be a senior if she decides to come out in the spring. She's currently in Georgia. She just won a competition for drum major for the marching band. So that was the big reason she stay. And I'm hoping I can convince her to come out in January. I do have an 8th grader, and then she'll be a freshman next year. So she'll be up here. And I would want to make sure that that space is private for them as well. So when I first saw it, I didn't like it either, just the way it was set up. Definitely needs to be addressed. And I'll take any questions you might have.
Listen,
So you had mentioned that there's potentially 2 aides or at least 1 full-time aide,
Yes.
whether that's split between 2 different people, 3 different people. So if one of the main concerns is proximity, but it still requires 2 female aides or a female aide to be there, doesn't, in my mind, I guess my question would be, does that eliminate the need for him to be in proximity wise? Why does he need to be there if he's got 2 female aides with him or a female aide with him for that purpose?
It's the best space, it's the biggest office. And again, I've got 1 person who I can put 1 office in, or I can put 1 person in 2 offices. And so for just pure efficiency, he's already the girls' basketball coach to use that same space. And so that's the reason for that. And it wouldn't be his responsibility to supervise the girls at all. It would be incumbent upon our female employees to fulfill that role.
So more space, it's more of a space.
It's more space. We've got our PE equipment in there. And so, yes, I wouldn't be completely forthright if I didn't say that there is some convenience to it. There is that as well, because our PE equipment's in there. So it just makes it a little easier for any individual, regardless of gender, to do their job as our PE teacher.
Yes, I was a PE teacher, a co-ed PE teacher. I never once stepped foot in the men's locker room, nor needed a office in there. As a former student at BCHS, I had 3 male PE teachers, Butch Donovan, Craig Finberg, and Terry Thomas, and not one of them needed a office in the girls' locker room. Also, what do the women get? I walked around today in the gym and I noticed that there were multiple spaces for the men coaches and 1 space for the women that is now going to be gone. I don't know. I mean, I voice my concern with these folks as well, and that's just not a space, whether it's convenient or not. There are many places for the PE equipment to be moved and put in a general location for both the male PE teachers to use. Thank you.
And I think you make a great point. So if I may respond, I agree that if we're going to take away a space that was once allocated for female use, that we need to get 1 back. And so what I proposed is to use the recently renovated locker room space that was designed for officials. It's very convenient. It's right off the gym. It's got a private shower. It's got lockers in it, and it's got a hand washing station as well. So what I would like to do is repurpose that space. It's not being used very much at all as a female-only employee space that would be for any female employee coach, also for female officials. If we have mixed gender officiating crews, that would allow any of our female officials to use that space as well. If we decide we didn't want to use the new coach's office, which is the one that actually adjoins the girls' locker room for like wrestling weigh-in for our girls' wrestling program, we could use that space as well. So I feel like, by giving that space back, while it may not be exactly the same kind of space, it's a very similar space, and I feel it's a more equitable compromise.
So, because I've coached and had many roles throughout the school, I've seen a lot of areas. And There are other things that are issues, and I just saw this today. One is to turn the lights on in the gym, you have to go into the boys' locker room to do that. There's no partition there, so for me as a female coach, teacher, mom, it's awful. Granted, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, no one's in there, so that's okay. What are you going to do for that? Is that gonna be the same protections for those boys and female teachers that have to do that? Are you going to block the window in the men's coach's room that looks into the boys' locker room? Will there be a partition set up around the washer and dryer for women coaches to access those resources that we're allowed to do for our athletics and extracurricular activities?
Sure, and I think you bring up some good points there. However, I believe those issues are not related specifically to the women's PE teacher's office.
I just.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we did kind of talk a little bit about washer and dryer, and I've talked with Jack about the possibility of putting a washer and dryer in the girls' locker room. Another project is something that I would like to look to do, because again, I want to try to make things as equitable as possible. Could we relocate the lights? Maybe. Talk to my Christian to see, and again, expense that out. Could the boys' locker room be more private? Absolutely. But I guess it was my understanding that our most pressing concern right now is the girls' PE teacher's office and girls' locker room. No, sure.
Do the same.
Agreed.
My other thought was, if we do have alternative solutions versus displacing the women again in the new referee, can our AD not communicate with our referees who traditionally have used the men's next to Mr. Walker's room as their place to go? Can we not re-communicate that, like, hey, this is where you're gonna be now, to just keep the women together where it has been? So we do have access to the girls. And I know in the past, Bernie Wasser was my basketball coach, and he never used the women's coaching room. We would go into the men's locker room. I know John Hanson is a former coach. I'll let him speak to that if he wants to. It seems like creating this extra-ness, when in the past, there's been other alternatives that have worked successfully. And I don't know if we can really look at that too as you continue this journey, because I know it's not easy. This is definitely an important topic to a lot of parents and coaches as well.
Sure. And so there again, once this project is complete, and again, it's still fluid, I need to check prices and I want to get approval. I would want to do these renovations regardless. If you took gender out of the equation, I don't care what gender PE teachers in that office. I don't think that space is private enough. And so I would still like to do this. We can look at it and have people come in and see how they feel, if it's a more private space. And then have that discussion again at that time. I would feel more satisfied, but you know what? I'm trying to sell you an idea, right? It's a lot more different when you see something tangible. So I would certainly say, let me see if we can get this done. I'm hoping we can get it done before Christmas, and then we can revisit the space and have that conversation again.
Other questions? Any questions from the board?
My only comment would be, I think it would be, from my perspective, to be able to go see that space would be very helpful as well, because
Yeah.
I'm kind of familiar with it, but not really. So being able to make a decision on something without actually physically seeing it would be helpful for me too.
Yeah. So anytime, even if Craig would like to give me a call, I can arrange with Brock. We can go down there and take a look at the space. It really help you. It'd help you be more. It's very unique. So it's almost hard to describe.
Yeah, it is.
Where's he been before? Or where was he been upstairs up here? That was one.
Where Josh has been, where the
Keller
PE teacher.
Well, last year with a female teacher, her office is one that actually has a door that opens up.
Right. Well, was he there with the female teacher?
His office was here in this. Well, isn't that right?
Except for, I guess, during basketball season, then where it was proposed, that's where he'd stay.
That was his office
So-
when he was coaching basketball.
Yeah, but during like with his PE classes that he had over there, he had the seminar room, he has the men's coaches room, he has the weight training room, all that have desk computers in that he used for those classes while he was over there.
So I think what we probably need to point out is Josh before was part-time PE
Yeah.
business. So,
Yeah.
you know, he didn't really need a full-time space.
Yeah.
Because he was part-time. Now he's full-time.
Yeah.
And again, I don't feel like we're breaking historical precedents, because historically, my time, I was in women's PE teacher's office or close to it. It's also been the girls' basketball coach's office.
Just
So I don't think we're breaking precedents.
for the public here, this wasn't Mr. Keller wanting this, it was an administrative decision that said, well, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. And we're putting him there.
Yes, it wasn't Mr. Keller's idea to go in there, no. So if you can, if you're out and about, catch Josh and go look at it sometime when you're
Yeah,
here.
shoot me a text or email ring and
Yeah,
I can,
Josh Patterson, not Josh Kelly.
can show it to you. Okay, 6.3, school administration of Montana attended the summer conference in July. Couple big things I wanted to point out. Yes, from that conference was that the state decided to extend the accreditation cycle. They delayed it by a year. And so technically, we went on the hook for our reevaluation for another 3 years. Well, because they're delaying it a year, it'd give us actually 4 years. So it'd be 28, 29 before we'd be up for to do our report again. However, because we're part of Cognia, that process happens more often. And we were up for reevaluation, or I guess our midterm review next year. It's a program I evaluate. I've been a part of Cognia before. I actually was certified in the Elliott evaluation program a little over a decade ago. I like the program, but there is a cost to it. And so as budgets kind of tighten over time, maybe something we have to look at. I do feel a little torn on the issue because our district's been doing it for over 100 years. But we always scored really well. But sometimes, when as those dollars dwindle, I ask myself the question, could I spend this money elsewhere and get more benefit out of it? I'm not sure where I'm at on that, but that's something I'm gonna evaluate. Another big thing, the State School Insurance Trust, we should be receiving information on that very soon. And so I'm very keenly interested to see, they were talking that maybe as much as 25 to 28% health savings. Now, we would need to make that decision by November. And so we wouldn't have long, we're talking a couple months. And so as soon as I get that information, I'll blast out text and I'll shoot you an email with that information because that's something we're going to have to consider pretty quickly. They did say that initially it was going to be November 1st deadline, but there was an ask from the administrative representation there that they moved that back to mid-November. So we'd have more than one board meeting, or not have to have a special board meeting to consider that. That's something I also have to be in touch with John about as that information is coming up and as it's unfolding.
Is it
Josh,
still,
just the-
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is there still some requirement that you have to commit to X amount of years when you?
Yeah, my understanding was 5. That's what I heard at the meeting too. And so there's some concern about that as well. Yeah, if I'm understanding correctly, we're locking for 5 years, but again, as this comes out, I'm gonna be asking a lot more questions.
Josh, does the school district engage with them for 5 years, or does the union do it? Or do both the district and the union do it?
I would think we would do it together.
Okay.
All right, I'll move on. The next thing, legislation, a couple of things I want to point out, we're going to start tracking. So part of House Bill 252, the STARS Act, there's additional funding to the tune of about $800 per student that students that graduate 15 more dual enrollment credits earn. Okay, now we wouldn't see those dollars until 2028. However, they're going to start using this year's data. So that's something I'm going to work with Audra and with JC and Chrissy, start tracking those students because it could be additional funding for the district. They also mentioned that if we have students that graduate or that earn an industry recognized certificate from an industry recognized certificate program, that we'd get that same funding as well. And I've got more questions about that they weren't able to answer then, because I'm not sure how that weighs against the credits, or does that certificate program have to be a certain number of credits? Or can it just be any number of credit program? But there again, data collection starts this year, so it's something we're gonna pay attention to. Hopefully we'll see some benefit from that, a couple years down the road. Lastly, state funding for school transportation was increased. And so that was another, pretty big thing. Used to be a 50-50 split for transportation. So we're talking state tax dollar versus local tax dollar. Now it's 75% from the state, 25% local. So Suzanne and I were actually working today, and we were able to lower our mill rate, which you'll see when the budget comes up a little bit, to decrease the tax burden on our Beaver County residents through our transportation levy. So that was a pretty big thing that happened last minute. I think that'd be important in the future as we're considering potential voted levies. We do things like that, and that we market those to let the taxpayers know that we have them in mind, and that we'll lower their local burden when and if we can. I guess there was one more thing. I did attend a session on school bonding and voter levies. That was very good. Learned a couple of strategies there that may help us in the future. Any questions on my SAM visit conference? Big news here. So Casey will hear this. Board of Public Ed's coming to visit Dillon. Board of Public Ed, we're going to host them here in Dillon in partnership with District 10 and with Western. They're going to be coming Wednesday, September 10th through Friday, September 12th. Tentatively, it looks like that Dillon Elementary is going to host those meetings in their boardroom. And it says that the Thursday and Friday at 8:30 a.m. Would be the meetings. And when not in meetings, that they'll be touring the elementary, they'll be doing the high school, touring Western. We are slated to hold a social on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. That's the first day they're here, kind of introduced. So I would encourage everybody to, if you're able to come, come. We're going to do it over in the foyer at the BW Lodge. And then we'll have some light refreshments served as well at that time. And then on Thursday afternoon, we'll have an opportunity to showcase BCHS and a few of our programs. I'm working with Mr. Taylor Igo to hopefully showcase our great ag program and some of the stuff that they're doing down there. And then any other teacher that when we have our open PR days, if they got a program that they want to showcase and share with the Board of Public Ed, that they might have an opportunity to do that as well Thursday afternoon. Any questions on the BPE visit? Okay, county transportation meeting. I attended that along with Mike and our transportation director, Sean. Everything went well. We didn't really have any route changes from last year. Everything pretty much status quo. There may be a few safety things here and there because I did get to tour every single route, every single stop. And I'm working with Sean on maybe a couple of fixes there that we could work with. The board did approve, or the committee did approve Mike Miller again. If there was any minor changes to affect mileage, that he'd be able to do that without having to have another committee meeting. So that went pretty well. Mike, do you have anything else on that?
No, I went well like it does every year, 45 minutes. Everybody approved everything and all the transportation routes around Beaver County. So I thought it went very well. So
We still got Butte Super Bowl approved. That's using the Melrose Post Office again, stop there. So we're all set there. We're trying to maneuver around bridges that are being condemned until further repair. We don't have any more of those go out. Let's see, next we have staff vacancies. Hey, looks like we might be fully staffed here pretty soon. Later on in the agenda, there'll be, when we get to the action portion, there'll be a recommendation to hire a school guidance counselor. Chrissy Rouse, a retired teacher out of Helena, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But if the board accepts the recommendation to hire her, that would give us a full staff. She would be able to start October 10th. JC can work till October 1st. There's a little bit of a gap there, but we can work. And for somebody with 25 years experience in school guidance counseling in a district, in a AA district, I think we count ourselves very fortunate to have her, a local Dillon girl. So That's pretty exciting. We might get a little lucky there. And then other than that, maybe just one custodial position. And so we might look at advertising a compensation range for that custodial position to try to get a little more interest in that. Any questions on vacancies? Summer projects, not a whole lot of update. Top floor of this building's pretty finished, working on the bottom floor. You probably see we got main entrance area all waxed. The brick patio section, paver outdoor, Jack's still working on that. The lodge is pretty much all but finished. Ace building's looking good. And we have a football field scoreboard installed. So if you hadn't been able to get by Vigilante lately, check it out. It's a very nice, very nice. So it should be ready for kickoff here in the very near future. Last week, that's, you can see my August schedule to date. A lot of meetings. We got feature PRs coming up next week on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 9th grade orientation next Friday. You're there. Then the following week, we've got 10th through 12th grade orientation on that Monday, 25th. Then we're out of school the 28th and 29th for Fair Day. That's my report.
Anybody have any questions for Josh on his report? If not, we'll go on to the assistant principal's report.
I guess. Does this need to be? In session?
I don't know about it, so,
We have a couple early graduation.
Yes. So let me hand out. The board,
would you prefer that this be a closed session so the public's not involved? The early graduation requests or not?
It just, if anything said, it's recorded. If we do it in a closed section, anything that's said is not recorded.
Recorded, but it's kept in a sealed file.
So it would not be open to the public. Okay. Okay. I would make the statement that the person's privacy exceeds the public's right to know, so we would ask everyone except the individuals who have it, please do that. It's absolutely.
Working on.
Yep.
Just takes us.
Is there one for each student?
Well, we're only doing one since only one. Okay, yeah. I get that. Thanks for asking what's that.
We didn't hear back the other student or their. Necessary.
I think. Something else, sorry.
Thank you. Send it back and all.
That's the safety.
So
Policy.
Tyre and her parents came. But a week or so ago, and we're interested in it being done. And actually, I think wanted a year early, right? Trying to get it done. States, that's the first page I handed out that we do allow early graduation, but only after they do the 7th semester. And so if you look at the second amount of paper or papers I handed out, the Shire is just beginning her, would be 3rd year in high school at Beaver County High School. There is a plan in place, and I'll explain to her why she wants to do this. But it's definitely possible for her to finish all of her credits
within 7 semesters. And I will, if you want to do this or allow her to do this, she can explain why. And so thank you for coming too. I will.
Let me probably start introduce myself. My name is Junior Mataafa. I got 5 kids, and I just wanted to say thank you guys. They went through Mr. Fitzgerald, they went through Matt Rogers, and now they went Rob. Sorry, I'm not a speaker. I'm a quiet person. I just want to say thank you. Just go give the time to my daughter to explain what she's requesting and why she's requesting. So yeah, thank you.
Pretty laid back, so you.
My name is Shire Matal, and I'm a junior at Riverhead County. We're both like crying. I am requesting your approval of early graduation at the end of the first semester of my 2026 to 2027 academic year. With the help of our school counselor, I've listed my completed courses and requirements below. So like that's the paper that you guys have. I have currently earned a total of 25 credits. To complete my graduation plan, I will be enrolled in all required remaining courses over the next 3 semesters, including English 3, 4, US history, US government, biology, art, music, and financial independent survival, along with additional elective credits. By the end of the first semester of the 2026 to 2027 school year, I will have fulfilled all BCHS graduation requirements. Several reasons why I want to graduate early. Number 1, post-secondary goals. Graduating early allows me to begin college sooner, where I will focus on my long-term goals to become a nurse. 2, academic preparedness. I've consistently demonstrated strong academic progress and am confident in my ability to complete the required schoolwork responsibly. Number 3, maturity and motivation. I am motivated to move into the next chapter of my life, and I feel emotionally and academically ready to do so. And then finally, just family and well-being. I love being a beaver and am blessed with the education I received from BCHS. But yeah, I'm just ready to move on.
So last school year, her brother took some time off and went back to Hawaii. We were there originally from. And so then even this summer, they went back again. And basically this homesick wanting to be able to graduate from Beaver Head County High School, but then start her education and the rest of her adult life, and would like to do that in Hawaii, but wants to stay here and finish high school with her family. But this would just get her moving that direction just a little bit quicker. That's where she. Yes.
What island of Hawaii? Oahu, okay, cool.
North Shore.
Okay.
It's your mom.
Rob, would you explain to us our early graduation procedure? I guess they've forgotten that we had it, to be honest with you. So,
Yes, actually, and this is the first time. There was gonna be another one, but basically they need to come to me and ask that it's okay. You mathematically see if it's okay. And it was to. I was sending the. I guess that's a recommendation or not. And then you guys make the final decision.
But they have to complete 7 semesters and then be able to complete all of the required.
And the reason why we're doing it now is because she would need to complete her full year of government, full year of junior English. So then that she can,
How is she able to do that?
that she would be,
I mean, how can you complete the second semester of a senior class by the end of the first semester of the senior class?
Get into it.
she doing it this, you have doing it. You would be taking,
3 and 4 this year.
right, yeah, so I think it kind of is in there. So we're this year, 25, 26, semester one, it kind of sets up that. Sets up her schedule, so there's 2 to be English 3 and 4, US history and government, biology. She needs art and music and 1 elective.
Okay.
So she would
So
have a
everything would-
very difficult schedule,
Yes.
doubling up in English and in history.
Very heavy on the cores. Naira, how do you feel about that? I mean, do you think you could manage taking this many core classes?
Need schedule lined up that they can take them all.
I've had other students in other districts do that.
Yeah. I think as far as our class schedule.
Our class schedule.
Yeah.
I believe so, or that Ms. Hacker went through what she created. It's not that she helped it. So, yeah.
How have your grades been, Tyra? Very good student.
A little rocky, but yeah, last year I focused and this year I'd like to do that.
Is this a decision we make tonight then? So how does that work?
What I would do, because again, there's a lot that she has to accomplish, is that I think maybe I'd be comfortable making a recommendation that board allow early graduation contingent upon her satisfying all the requirements laid out in policy to graduate in 7 semesters.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that just means that she has to actually do it. And she has to complete her end of the bargain. And if she doesn't,
Worst case scenario. Struggles and she could then drop with these classes and next year and not. Right. That'd be worst case scenario.
there's a couple pathways and we've got people here that can help her.
For sure. I mean, we're gonna miss you at the luau. But I mean, well,
Gonna miss you. Mom every day.
absolutely.
After one, no one wants to move that. So engaged, totally confident in what she wants to do.
Yeah.
Knowing her mom and dad, I mean, we're gonna push her and.
This shouldn't hurt us financially either. In policy, that the A and B of the school district may be increased when the high school district provides early graduation. So that's just something we would have to document again, with OPI, but I know it's, you can get compensated, you don't lose state funding. Okay, for these to graduate early.
This is the first student request we've had for a long, long time, I think, since this policy's gone into place, I think. You remember any, Mike? Not for a long, long time, so.
So Josh makes the recommendation that we allow it based on Shire meeting this requirements. Do we have to make a motion to approve that recommendation?
Once we go back into general session,
Oh, okay, once we go back into,
and he'll just say
perfect.
student A, I recommend student A.
Okay,
Because we don't name them, where it's a privacy
Okay.
issue, so.
okay,
Then Josh will make that recommendation, and somebody will
perfect.
Make the motion.
And can we get this information back to Rob?
Yeah, that's what I recommend.
Okay, perfect.
And Suzanne, do you need to move back to minutes? Please. Yes.
Board Chair Jerry Love convened the board of trustees, Big High School in executive session at 8:42 p.m. Those present included Steve Polcott and Roxanne Hewitt, Gary Love, Mike Richardson, Chris Reaper, Lloyd Smith, and Bill Willett. Also in attendance with Superintendent Josh Patterson, Assistant Principal Rob Hankins, and Mr. Clarkson and Law. From determined as being present. Also in attendance with student Tiger Papa and her father Junior. The purpose of the executive session was to discuss the reasons for the graduation. Chair Gary Love found that the student's right of privacy exceeded the public's right to know in this matter and with section 2-3-203 MCA. Mr. Hankins discussed that Shire is beginning her third year of high school. We do allow early graduation as long as they have completed 7 semesters. She would like to graduate after her first semester in 2026-2027. She would have all graduation requirements met at this time. After discussion concluded, the board returned to open session to act on the matter at 8:55 p.m. This summary was created during the executive session to comply with section 2-3-212 MCA. All of those present during the executive session were provided a chance to review the summary and agree that it is an accurate reflection of the discussion held in executive session. The summary will be approved by motion in open session following completion of this closed session. The summary will be kept in a secure location in the district business office and will not be released without a court order. Dated this 11th day of August, 2025.
Sounds okay to me. Sounds okay to everybody?
Yeah.
Are you folks okay with that?
I move to approve the closed session.
Minutes?
Yeah.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Yeah, we have not officiated.
Oh, we do?
Well, no, I don't know if we ever, I don't think we have. The minutes for the executive session, we approved an executive session.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think so.
Says
Yeah, you go.
content.
Right.
Passes unanimously. Okay, we're back in open session. Good job.
I would make a recommendation that the board consider approving student aid request for early graduation. Contingent upon student satisfying all the requirements laid out in CHS board policy 2410-P1, high school graduation requirements.
I'll make a motion to approve his recommendation as stated.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve Josh's recommendation to allow student aid to graduate early at the end of the 7th semester. Is there any discussion or questions? Those in favor, say aye. Aye.